Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers, and I've been messing around with the Nanobot build and repair system. So what you see in front of you here is a mock-up of a just ridiculously silly, there's 50 of these guys stacked next to each other. They make quick work of pretty much anything. So whether you're building, dismantling, or anything else, these things are the Swiss cheese. They really are. So let's go into one of these and show you a little bit about it. So that's okay. So what you see here is this happens to be number 61. So obviously you have the same on-off terminal block inventory, blah blah blah. The name down here, and then we get into the unique stuff. Help others. What does help others mean? Well, help others is everybody in your faction. So if you want to help others, then click build new. What does this mean? When checked, the build and repair system will construct projected blocks. So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. If you are turning on your projector for the first time and dumping a blueprint in it, this is your enemy. Okay, just put it out there. This thing will totally screw you. So the second there is an image projected, boop, it starts building. So it could give a shit whether you have it all lined up or not. You just turn it on, there's an image, boom, starts fixing. So you got to be careful on how you use this. So we have two different modes here. We have a fly mode and a walk mode. What does walk mode mean? Walk mode means anything attached to this grid. So in other words, the grid that this device is attached to, it will build, repair, do whatever you want, as long as it is attached to the same grid. Fly mode doesn't have to be attached. As long as you're within 75 meters maximum in every direction, you're all good to go. So that's what fly mode is. So I obviously have the thing turned on. So you've got three different modes to work with here. Weld before grind, pretty straightforward. Grind before weld, also pretty straightforward. Grind if weld gets stuck. So this is weld first, but grind afterwards. But grind if weld gets stuck. So that's what I use. Couple of really neat features here is the use ignore color and use grind color. Well, what does ignore color mean? Well, what does ignore mean? Ignore means leave it the hell alone, right? So anyway, are these numbers arbitrary? Yes, somewhat. I'm kind of I've adopted the same coloration patterns as a couple of my most favorite YouTubers who do space engineers stuff. They're using the build and repair system, so I figured I would go ahead and be consistent with that. Why? Well, it works. The 313 isn't a bad color at all. The 113 isn't a bad color at all. The 313 is absolutely the most hideous hot pink that you could ever see in your lifetime. It will scar you for life. So anyway, grind color. Grinds enemy blocks. Pretty straightforward. When checks, enemy blocks in range will be grinded. Yeah, grinded. That's a word. Grinds not owned blocks. This is kind of an interesting one because not all blocks can be owned. So what I have discovered as I've been playing with this is if all of the actual ownable blocks in an enemy spacecraft are ground down, then all that remains will just kind of float there. So this takes care of that. Neutral blocks. Neutral blocks, whether you want to grind down your the factions that you are at peace with, it's up to you. Grind using enabled settings. The only thing I can figure out about this is these things here. So all the different janitor modes. And this is where you actually can set all the different heights. Okay, so this is top, bottom. I don't see a rear forward, I guess. I don't know. No backwards. I don't know. I don't know why there's only 5 of them when there's 6 directions. Oh, there it is. Sound volume. Don't know about this one, so I'm going to change that down. Yeah, so you can go in all 6 directions. There we go. I was just being a dipshit. Alright. So those are all the different settings. How am I going about testing this? Well, I'm going to demonstrate. Now, one of the things that I have going on here, am I cheating? Yes, absolutely I am. I'm just here to have fun, so cheating is well within the parameters depending on what you define with cheating. So this is a 4G frigate over here. That's all I see at this point. Alright, so this thing is just off the center of the universe, and what I mean by that is GPS point 000. That's the center of this little universe. This particular space station is just off center of that little universe. It's about 100 meters away. So I'm playing in Space Master here. One of the things I want to see, hey, look at that. So obviously these are moving. They're not technically powered, but they're moving. So first thing I'm going to do is stop that. You cannot depower anymore. I don't know why you can't depower, but so I'm going to teleport here and then do the player thing. I have admin scripts turned on, so what I'm going to do as soon as I can find this thing is turn this vessel off, and the reason for that is because I'm pirating it. So no need for it to be on for me to pirate it. So this is a mine layer. That was a Control X, so I'm deleting it from the universe. I'm also using admin scripts. This is teleport 000, so you can use the GPS coordinates or verbose coordinates. So let me turn slightly, and you can see here's my little space station that's 96.9 meters away. And to see how well this thing works, I know the sun is in the way, and I do apologize for that. Let me go ahead and flatten that out. Alright, so we're pretty much kind of pasting this right over the top of the space station here, or the shipyard here. So paste, and if all goes well, it's going to start making this thing vanish. So it is literally grinding this thing down. You can't really see anything happening here because that's kind of one of those little bugs that happens on occasion. So as this thing grinds this thing down, it is salvaging all of those parts. Every part that is salvageable is being salvaged. You can see it goes through this pretty fast. If I have any complaint about this all, it is that 75 meter radius. Or not really radius, it's a big box. But as you can see here, that's not really a handicap. So we're talking less than a minute, and this thing is gone. So pretty cool stuff. Now, like I said, this thing is a bit silly. You probably will not be building 50 of these things, but 50 works really, really well. So one of them on the ship I had that we demonstrated in the last video. In fact, let me go ahead and show you that one. This guy. There we go. Can I see that? So this thing here has 48 of them. So really 4 sections of 12 each, and extremely effective. So this obviously a mobile, semi-mobile version of the same thing. You know, zoom out, go in, and go out to wherever they are. It will dismantle everything, and then you zoom back home and unload. So definitely had a lot of fun with this guy, and then decided, hey, what about a fixed emplacement unit? So what do I have here? We have an antenna. A lot of these are this is built on well, some Kendi blocks. So all the batteries, there are 10 batteries, 5 on each side. There's the Kenti antenna here, which is a 1x1x2 antenna. There are Kenti reactors, large reactors on both ends, which I think are 300 meg each. Or 300 gig, maybe it is. Oh, 100 gig. Sorry, 100 gig. Vanilla connectors, why do I paint them red? I use a particular coloration when it comes to all of my builds, and this is just over time I have done things this way. There are a lot of builds that I do that are the larger shipyard station types, and you'll see all 3 colors. Red is pull-in. So if I hook up to this thing, it's going to pull in everything that isn't bolted down. So everything in your container system, it will pull in. And you can see towards the left of the screen there, there's a sorter. That's what that is. So you see that sorter on the pull-in side is connected to a conveyor junction, which goes to this connector here on the screen, the red one. You see another conveyor system that comes out of that on the side and heads off the screen to the left. That is actually going to the other end where you see that red connector at the other end. That's all that is. So it just basically those 2 connectors, one on each end, is pulling into this end. Now why do I bring it all the way down to this end? The 2 containers, these are elsewhere containers here, these are the only 2 containers on this entire system. So that's everything goes here. So everything that gets pulled in gets stuffed into this container. There's another sorter at the other end that is, its intention is to pull everything out of these things and dump it into a container. That's all it is. So no real purpose. It was just kind of like, yeah, let me go ahead and put that there. Alright, so reactors, sorters, containers. And on this end we have a medical bay. There's that sorter I was telling you about, the other red connector, another reactor, and then this is a super gas generator here, and we have an oxygen tank and 2 hydrogen tanks. Why 2 hydrogen tanks? Because if Space Engineers ever gets to the point where it deals with gases like gases work, then it's going to be really neat, because you have a pressurized container here, and obviously if you connect it onto a pressurized container, it's going to equalize with any of the other containers that happen to be connected onto it. So you could actually fill your ship from these containers if they ever manage to do that. So until they do that, then that doesn't work that way. But once the tanks are there, they're there. So again, pull-in connector on the other end. So I was babbling about my my 3-color spectrum here. So pull-in is red. You know, if you connect onto that, it's going to suck everything out of your ship, including your life, possibly your soul, but it's going to pull everything in. Green is the normal supply system. So that's tapped back to the main containers, so you can pull from as you need. Push in, doesn't matter, it's wide open. So connector basically onto the supply system. There's also a blue that I use that is just for ice and uranium, which is to say uranium ingots. So usable uranium. So basically that's your critical supplies, is the blue. Why did I do 3? Well, because a lot of these bigger blocks are 3 wide. So having a gap in the middle seemed kind of foolish, so I decided, okay, let's go ahead and put a third independent conveyor system, and what are we going to use it for? And it actually didn't end up being independent. It actually is somewhat tied in many ways to the green system. So it can pull ice from the green system and use it, but it basically has a sorter, so it can pull things across, but you can't pull them back through. So it's basically storage for ice and ingots. So when I'm building stations and I use that kind of methodology, then I will have ice and ingots, uranium ingots, able to pull over, and then my entire supply system will hooks back in. So it hooks in on the green side to pull ice and uranium ingots across, and then it hooks back into the system on the other side, so you have your gaseous supply back into the supply system. But it does not allow any components or materials through. So it's basically an in and an out, but the out does not allow anything out but the gases. So because gases can go through a sorter without any issue. So anyway, that's the shipyard here, and I was playing with the exploration mod the other day, enhanced exploration mod, and it doesn't seem to be working. So it's not actually doing anything anymore. It used to spawn in ships and stations and all those sorts of things, and it doesn't appear to be doing that anymore. So I was reading in the forum on that particular, in the comment section on that particular mod, and it looks like other people have discovered that is not working. So not sure exactly why, but space engineers that likes to change things and break things and everything, an outstanding modding community out there that takes a lot of time and effort to build these fantastic mods, and then Keen breaks them. So anyway, as there is very little I can do here, unfortunately, because there's nothing in space. So what I did was turned on cargo ships, is what that red was. So anyway, that was the very quick demonstration of what this thing can do. So if you really want to go through your little solar system here and pirate everything, well, this is one of the mechanisms you could use to dismantle everything. Let me see. I don't know if the I don't think the F12 thing works anymore with the debug screen. There may be a way to find it, I don't know. Why Keen thought it was a good idea to remove the debug screen, I have no idea. Okay, well, that was what I wanted to show you all. So I think that is it. So this is Kenty Tiger signing off, and we will see you next time.